All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It was nice. The Bears won, so I was happy to see that. Also, you can see some 2x4s are actually on the walls now. Been busy over the weekend here. I got about 20% of the walls done, which is kind of nice. I still have a long ways to go, but man, it's not focusing on me. There it goes. Not much to talk about today. We're just going to take a look at what's going on with the miners as far as price performance over the past week, along with Bitcoin. We'll also take a look at where will Bitcoin miners go kind of possibly in the Q4 numbers, because Q3 hasn't been that great for us. So we'll get into that. We'll get into Q&A, and we'll call it a day at that point. We'll obviously have a new month coming up here in 2 days. We'll get a bunch of reports from the miners as well. So we got that to look forward to. But as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, return only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin. Oop, where did it go? That's where I wanted to go. Sorry about that. Let's go back here. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin here over the weekend actually did pretty good here. We were up nicely today at least. And if we look at it on the daily here, we can see that we were up nicely. We were up 2.29%. We were up 2,516. We closed at 112,197 roughly. So that was actually pretty good there. We're down a little bit on the new day here. We got 2 more days to go in September basically. We got tomorrow, Monday, right, and Tuesday, and then we're done for the not only for September, but for Q3 as well. So like I said, Q3 hasn't been great for us. Miners obviously weren't trading over the weekend here, so not much going on there. We'll take a look at where Ethereum was here a little bit. Ethereum was also up today a little bit. It was up 3% as well. It closed at 4,143. We'll see where everything goes tomorrow. Right now, in the pre-market hours, the miners are trading for the most part to the upside, to the positive here. So we'll take a look at that really quick here right now. We can see here BitDeer is up 215 right now. Bitfarms is up to, wow, it's getting better, 3.5%. So that one's increasing as well. Cypher is up just 2% roughly. Cleanspark is up 3% right now. And then we got CORZ Scientific being up 2% as well. Hive being up, let's see here, 3.4%. Hut8 right now is up 3.14%. So things are looking pretty good here in the pre-market hours. IREN is up 1. Let's see, where does that finish up at? 1.84 right now at least. Mara is up 2.36. Riot is up 3.34%, and TeraWolf is up 1.29%. And lastly, Soluna here, the big one that's been jumping like crazy here recently, is actually down 9%. So some selling happening there on that one. That one has had a huge run up here, as you guys know. If you guys obviously have been watching it, it's been up huge in the last week or so. So that one's definitely getting a little bit of pullback here, it seems like. Okay, so that's basically what's going on here with the miners right now as far as pre-market hours and where Bitcoin is right now. If we look at Bitcoin here on the quarterly results, this is kind of what I want to talk to you guys about as far as Q4 going forward for us. Q3 right now, obviously we have 2 days left, right? But overall we're at 4.73%, which is kind of good. We'll possibly end up in the green here for the quarter here if Bitcoin just cooperates with us and it actually stays at these levels, or at least maybe goes up a little bit higher. I'll be fine with that. But if we have 2 days of red days, 2% plus, well, we might end up in the red here. But the main thing is Q4. Q4 historically has been really, really good for us. Even last year was up 47%. The year prior, it was up 56%. So those are 2 really good years where we were up nicely. 2021, which was a bull run at that point, we were only up 5.45%. But that was mainly because we had a double top in Bitcoin, right? We got to 63,000 in like March, April, and then we got to 69,000 in Q4 there. Prior to that, in 2020, we were up 168%. 2017, which was a great bull run for us, we were up 215%. I'm not expecting those types of gains in Q4 this time around. Bitcoin price is much higher. I'm guessing we'll be somewhere between, maybe if we do really well, somewhere between 15 and like 25% gains here, if it works out that way, right? Maybe 35% at the high end, but I'm not expecting these much larger percentage gains that we have seen here. 2016, we had 58%, 2015, 81%, right? 2013 was huge, 479%. On average, we get about 85. But right now, I think just with the way Bitcoin is acting and the way it's trading lately with all the adoption and everything else, I think honestly do think that we're going to be like somewhere between 15 and 35% in gains, which would still be really good because if Bitcoin does go up 35%, that would get us close to right around 150,000. Could we see better than that? Possibly, but I'm willing to go on the lower end side of things. If we get more than that, I'm going to be sincerely happy with that. But in the interim, having that just be up, somewhere between 25 and 35%, that would be great. Because right now this year we've been only up 29% in Q2. Q1 we were down, right? Q3 we're got 2 more days, but we'll figure out where we're at that point. Last year, we had 2 great quarters here. Q1 was 68%, and then Q4 obviously 47%. The other 2, Q2 was actually negative. Q3 was only up a little bit here. So we will see how it plays out, but that's kind of what I'm anticipating. Now, if that plays out that way, that's going to be great, not only for Bitcoin, but also for Bitcoin miners, because at that point, if we get to 150,000, miners should do also much, much better going forward. And the ones that also have HPCI potential or are working on that, right, those will even pump even further higher from where we are right now. So the dip that we had last week, hopefully you guys were able to buy into it because that was definitely a gift at that point. And right, you want to kind of place your bets on red days, and that's kind of what we had there. So I bought in last week. I know a bunch of you guys also bought in last week, which was great to see, and that positions us well going into Q4 here, which should be really good for the miners because miners have actually been outperforming here the last quarter of Q3 and also partially of Q2 compared to Bitcoin, which is nice. Okay, so there's that part of it. As far as what I think is going to happen here with not only Bitcoin but Bitcoin miners, I think good things are going to be happening here. We'll see, obviously, a couple of these guys also do maybe even like 100% gains here in the next quarter, possibly even more. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Now, as far as Bitcoin miners here in the last week, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and 12 weeks, we're going to take a look at that as well, see how they're performing here. But we can see here on the miners how high they are up from their 52-week lows and how far away they are from the 52-week lows as well. And we always look at this every week. And I need to update the date on this because this is now 9/28. Which is nice. It's also kind of saddening because fall's coming and the days are getting shorter here, and it's going to start getting cooler. So that's part of the reason I started doing the renovation in the basement, is because I'm going to be spending less time outside and I'm going to be having more time inside. So I'm like, I might as well do this now, and also save a bunch of money in the process. But that means I can invest more, right? I'm thinking. All right, but here's what we got. IREN, obviously, in the last 52 weeks has been the best performer. It's up 716%. Cypher up 516%. And then we got a bunch of them that are kind of close to each other, like Riot up 185%, Hive 179%, Core 171%, Kango 159%, BitTier 145%, Cleanspark's up 100%, Strategy up 96%, and Bitcoin's only up 86% in the last 52 weeks. Marathon is lagging all of those. It's only up 64.4%. And we can see that IREN's not too far away from its 52-week high, only 15%. Riot's only 12%. Core up only 9% away. Bitcoin's about 12% away. And others are 20, 30, and 40, and 50 even percent away from their 52-week highs here. As far as last week is concerned, well, we can see that IREN had the best week, even though it went down quite a bit the last 2 days. But it was up 8% on the week overall. Core was only up 1% along with Riot, and then BitTier was down 1%. Cleanspark was down 5%. Bitcoin was about down 5% as well. And then we had a couple that have underperformed Bitcoin, which are Cypher, Hive, Kango, Strategy, and Marathon. Things absolutely change here when we look at the 4 weeks time frame, and we can see that at that point, Bitcoin's down 1%. 2 that have underperformed are Kango and Strategy. Kango being down 20%, Strategy being down 8%. Everybody else has outperformed here. Biggest gainers have been IREN and Cypher, as well as Cleanspark being up 40% in the last 4 weeks. And you can see the rest of them along the way. And then we got 8 weeks. Things definitely take a different turn there. We got Cypher being up 141%, actually outperforming IREN here, being up 127%. Bitcoin's down 6%. Still, again, Kango and Strategy have underperformed Bitcoin. Everybody else has outperformed it at least a little bit here. And then we got, obviously, Riot also being up nicely, along with Hive being up 70%. And then we got BitTier 29%, Cleanspark 29%. And then lastly, on the 12 weeks time frame, Bitcoin's down 7% at that point from where it was here. IREN's up huge, 158%. Cypher's up huge as well, 95%. Hive even 53%. But we got Kango, Strategy, and Marathon underperforming here. Bitcoin being down the most there over the last 12 weeks. Even Riot being up pretty nicely here, 42. So a lot of these guys, like I said, have been outperforming here compared to Bitcoin as it is. Looking at the table down here, we can see that this past week was kind of mixed here. We did have 2 good weeks in a row where miners have outperformed Bitcoin here for the most part. And then we had also a kind of red week. And it's kind of mixed as far as after the weeks after that are concerned. Want to get back into the weeks where we have a bunch of green like we have had here in early May, looks like, right? May, end of April, early May. We had a couple of weeks, about 4 weeks, where we saw a lot of green in the miners here. So maybe we'll start seeing that again happening in Q4 here for that. But that is it. Pretty short and sweet overall. Outlook in the longer term, I'm still bullish on everything that's happening here. Short term, volatility is going to be there, right? We're going to be up, we're going to be down. Days that we are red, those are buying opportunities. If you have the cash, obviously, on the sidelines to do it. Otherwise, hold on, be patient, and we will get through this with a much larger bag than we started with. That is always the plan. All right, that is it. Let's get into Q&A here, and let's see what you guys have to say, if anything at all, and we'll call it a day. All right, as always, I'm going to scroll up and work my way down, and we'll get through all the questions. And if you preface the questions with a question mark or Q, I would appreciate it. SK's got a question here. Do you think IREN will correct more from here? I do not. Yeah, I don't think it will. I think it will hold where it's at and continue to go up potentially. There is just too much good things happening for IREN right now. Yeah, we had the JPM report come out. They were, saying it's overvalued. They give it a much lower price target, but then you have 5 other analysts that give it a much higher price target at $75 to $82. So I don't know. JP Morgan is just way behind everybody else, it seems like. But that's just my take on it. Let's see. Neville says October is upon us, but BTC ain't behaving as it should when we expect it. So I don't know. Yeah, Bitcoin's been like flat pretty much over the last quarter here. It's up a little bit here, I believe, in September, not much, but going forward, it's not only October, it's also November, and typically even December at a certain amount is in the green for us. So I'm waiting for that to happen here. All right. Mortim says, in Franz Baker's space, several made long-term case for IREN 250 as a hyperscaler. Where can the stock just on Bitcoin alone at 140,000? So where's the stock value just on Bitcoin alone? It's hard to value them alone on Bitcoin because they're generating, they will be generating about 500 million from their AI cloud business next year. So that's kind of hard to value them on Bitcoin mining itself. But if we take, let's see, maybe we can take that out. Let's see where they would be. Hold on, let me pull this up because we do have that separated right now. So let's go back to the browser here. Okay, there you go. There's that. So we got them with the HPCI annual run rate revenue of 500 million. If we put that in as 0, what does that get us to? That still gets us to 33.91 and 50.86, somewhere around there. So they're right now would be kind of in between that, right? But you got to value them as well on the HPCI side of things. So 500 million right now. Now let's say that they double those GPUs to 46,000, right? At that point, we're looking at about $1 billion in annual run rate revenue. If we change that over to $1 billion for that, now we're looking at between $70 and $106 potentially, somewhere around there, right? So there's still a lot of upside here. Now, depending if they will actually buy more GPUs, right? I guess you could say the trend historically has been that they have been buying more and more GPUs as time progresses here. So I don't see that stopping. I think that's going to continue going forward. It's just how much will they be buying? We don't know. We can theorize, right? Maybe they can double it. Maybe they can half that or multiply it by half, right? So let's say they got 23. Let's say they increase that to, what is that, 35,000, something like that, GPUs. That would give them about $750 million annual run rate. So, I mean, you can punch in the numbers, figure it out, see where that's going to be. That's just kind of what we're looking at here right now on them, right? And as they announce more things happening here, we'll obviously update this, what the potential could be there for them. But right now, we still have them between 52 and 78, which is kind of in line with what the analysts have them. It's 75 to 82, right, on the higher end side. And that coincides with what I have them. So we are in agreement there, I guess, on that one. All right, let's go back here to the Q&A. All right. Let's see. Neil, looks like you are renovating the basement walls properly. The foam board is a smart move. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Watched a lot of YouTube videos, even bought a book on remodeling basements. Yeah. I've done small things like redoing bathrooms and redoing the kitchen upstairs. Obviously, did that as well. So I have some experience on it, and I'm not afraid to ask for questions or, ask for help sometimes if I need to. Electrical, I'm not getting into electrical because electrical, I don't want to burn my house down. I'll get a professional to do that. Now, that doesn't mean I couldn't do it. I could do it if I actually wanted to, but it's just, I'd rather pay somebody to do that and do it properly. All right, Carl, let's see here. I've been looking at 3 support levels for Bitfarms. 255 broke that Friday, 241 and 230. No idea if Bitfarms retraces these lower levels, but we will see the next week or two. Yeah, I mean, Bitfarms right now, let's see, where is it at? All right, let's see, I mean, Bitfarms is at 254. It's going up actually in the after hours, so it's 263 right now. As long as you can hold these lines here, I think that's going to be a good sign here going forward. Did it get overextended a little bit? Yeah, it went up huge. A little pullback that we saw here is a good thing, in my opinion, at least. Okay, let's see. I was just looking at the chart there. What else do we have here? Okay, Neil, Q4, to the moon, rocket emoji, okay. Definitely hoping for that. Grancino, question, hello, Sebastian. Do you think the pivot into HPCI for Bitcoin miners will mitigate the downturn in their share price if and when crypto winter arrives? So if we have a crypto winter, then I do believe that will help the miners that have HPCI, right? They're the ones that are actually generating a lot of revenue. Like, so IREN is one of them. Wolf, Cypher is going to be generating revenue. CORZ getting bought out by CoreWeave anyways. Those guys should benefit from their HPCI revenues, where they shouldn't go down as much. I mean, they've been more priced on the HPCI move than Bitcoin move, right? Because Bitcoin's been flat, but these guys are up huge this past quarter. So I think that will hold there. All right, let's see here. Roger says, I'm looking for Cleanspark to get to 24. It's all-time high 2 years ago. I'm also looking forward to that. We need more, I wouldn't say more clarity. I think we just need more press releases on their HPCI stuff as far as what they're doing, things like that. But that should get there. All right, SKS, how many shares of Cypher do you have, and what price target are you looking at in 2026? Cypher, I don't have that many shares. I only have, let me pull this up. It's nowhere near the amount of shares that I have for Cleanspark or IREN or even Bitfarms, at that matter. Let me see here. Where's it at? Pull this up really quick. Let me make sure I give you guys the right numbers here. Okay, so Cypher I have right now a little less than 4,000 shares in Cypher. Where did it go? Let's see, talked about that one. Okay, John Kurtz. IREN, 1 year low is 530. Friday close is 41.86. If they got to 35, would I add, I guess? If they got to $35, you would add to it? Yeah, probably. I mean, if you think that they can still do a lot better going forward, build out their AI cloud and everything else, then yeah, it still would be a pretty good bet. Let's see, 5 to 35 in a year with how much earnings growth? I mean, earnings growth has been huge for them. Why is this not working? My mouse keeps having glitches. Let's take a look at IREN here. So IREN, if you look at their growth here in revenue, let's see here, where's it at? This one. Q1, right? 54 million, 119 million, 148, 187, 237 million is the current quarter that we're estimating here. This is on Bitcoin, and this is just for Bitcoin mining side of things. The big thing that's driving it right now is their HPC AI cloud revenue. Right, we're seeing that go to 250 million originally, and then now with the additional GPUs that they're buying, that's going up to 500 million in annual revenue. So that's roughly, what is that? 125 million a quarter, right? Yeah, 125 million a quarter. Add that on top of everything else. I mean, their current run rate is, let's see here, current run rate combined, this is for the last quarters, but Bitcoin run rate right now is 922 million for them, right? So that's about roughly right where we are, 237 million a quarter. So that's huge. And that's only going to increase here as time progresses and they get more GPUs installed and everything else. All right, let's go back here. All right, let's see. Ponla Radas. Let's see. Any thoughts on Annie? Annie is Sphere 3D. They don't have any infrastructure. They don't. I mean, they had a couple exahash, maybe even less than 2 now. I'm not sure where they are with their operations. They reported their quarterly results, which is back in August, I think that they reported that. Prior to that, they didn't have any updates until like May. So I'm not sure what's going on with them, to be honest with you. But again, no infrastructure, everything asset light. They host everything. I'll be surprised if they survive the next year or two. All right, Sarah says, Seb, this is your daily reminder that IREN is going to $100 this year. If it does, I'll be happy to see that, and I think it will go even more than that next year. All right, Mortem, was the JPM price target basically an attempt to take down of IREN? Reggie does not seem to understand the company. It looked like it to me. That's kind of what it seemed like, right? Why would he come out with a price target so low, even after seeing a lot of his peers, the analyst peers out there, come up with much higher price targets? It seems like he doesn't, maybe I wouldn't say he goofed, but maybe he doesn't understand. I don't know. It's hard to value these things when they're growing tremendously. And the HPCI side of things is, it's a rocket right now. So, yeah, I don't know. But it does seem like they would want to maybe bring the price down, get in at a better price. All right. Let's see. Download iBit. What camera do you use for live? It's pretty clean. It's a Sony A6600, I think it is. I got that thing like 3 years ago, so I think that's the one I use. Yeah, it is and then I have a pretty shallow depth of field lens on that. I'd have to look at it. I think it's like 18 aperture, 18 I think it is, right? Where it's really shallow depth. All right. Neil says, since you are a social media influencer, you should write off the renovations. I could write it off probably for the little office space that I have here, or my little studio, but the rest of it I can't write it off. I could maybe write off the bathroom that's going to be off my studio, because this is going to be like this originally is meant to be like a bedroom, right, with a private bathroom in it as well. So I can maybe write that off, part of this studio part of the thing. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to talk to a tax person on that one. David, question, if I understand correctly, everyone has been waiting to dump their shares in Q4. Is that correct? Okay. A lot of people have been talking about that for probably the past year, right? The thought process has always been that Bitcoin, if it's going to have a cycle like it has had before, where Bitcoin, rockets in Q4, October, November, and possibly into December, and then that's it, right? Then we go into a bear market. Then yes, this would be the time that people would be selling here. But I'm hearing and seeing also a lot more people coming on board with the notion that Bitcoin might be in an extended cycle. We've seen it with the price action. We've seen it with the drawdowns. We've seen it with the extended time frames and where Bitcoin consolidates or goes south a little bit, like 30%. It's taken months, not days like it has in the past. So for that reason, and with the adoption and everything else happening, I think it might be an extended cycle. So if they do sell out, it might be to the detriment, because if things continue to go up, they might be obviously leaving money on the table. But again, if you're up nicely, I mean, some people don't care, right? They're up 50%, 100%, 200%, whatever it is. They're going to take the gains on it and be very happy with it, which is just great, which is fine, right? There's nothing wrong with taking profits, right? But sometimes you don't want to take profits too quickly. All right. Neville says, people treating IREN as a Bitcoin miner will cause them to make the mistakes of selling. I think people are turning around on that notion as far as it's not really, I mean, the Bitcoin mining side of things does help because it helps fund the operations and the growth into HPCI as well. SK, what price target do you see Bitfarms in 2026? That's tough. I mean, that depends where Bitcoin's at. That depends also, do they get a deal for HPCI or do they build out their own HPCI? I mean, we're seeing obviously more companies leaning towards that, doing the same thing as IREN with their SBC or SB, what is it? Well, their cloud, AI cloud basically. Cypher's talked about it now. Cleanspark's looking to go that route. Bitfarms could possibly go into that direction as well, and then we'll see if others are looking to go that route. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's too early to tell. I mean, I would think somewhere between where they are right now and like $10, depending on where things go. I just don't know. Righty, what else we got here? SK, what price targets do you see for Cypher? Same thing. Cypher, I mean, it'll depend on do they get more deals, right? Which they kind of alluded to as well. And then do they build out their own HPC cloud? So it depends on that. But if they do, then the stock should obviously go up higher. Where will it go? Hard to tell. All right. Let's see here. Jawadula. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I have shares in IREN, Hut 8, Cleanspark, planning to buy Cypher and Riot tomorrow morning. Maybe more shares into Cypher. Also thinking if I should buy the dip on Soluna. What do you think about this? Yeah, I mean, buying shares on a dip is always great. I've done it for over 3 years. So I'm all fine with that. Soluna, do your due diligence on them, right? They do have a lot of these sites that are partnered with other people. So you have to really do your due diligence. I haven't done that yet. But yeah, I don't know. I know that thing has run up a lot because everybody was chasing megawatts, and they said that they have a multi-gigawatt pipeline, I think. So do your due diligence on that one. Let's see. Richard says Cleanspark was a power company. Their pivot would be seamless. So yeah. Well, they weren't a power company. They were a microgrid supplier, right? The components for microgrids and things like that. So, but they have an understanding of obviously the power infrastructure and all that stuff, which does help them. All right. Paul Neville. Well, IREN was acting like a BTC miner or selling like one on Friday, unfortunately. Well, that was because of the JPM report on them, I think, partially didn't help. All right, HB, question. Would you suggest putting money in a few different miners? Right now, I have small amounts in IREN, Cleanspark, Hive, Bitfarms, or just putting it all into IREN instead? IREN, I think, has a lot of potential, right? So you got to think to yourself, can it go up another 2, 3, 4, 5x from where it's at right now? If you do, then get into that one as well. The other ones I still think are more undervalued right now, especially like Cleanspark, Hive, and Bitfarms are probably, well, they're definitely way undervalued from IREN, right? In that regard. So Cleanspark's getting into HPCI, Hive is getting into HPCI, Bitfarms is getting into HPCI. So it's going to be your call as far as diversification. I own, as you know, IREN, Cleanspark, Bitfarms, Cypher. I've diversified because you just never know when these things are going to run. We've seen that with IREN, Cypher running right now. And it could be just a matter of time before, Cleanspark, Bitfarms. I mean, Bitfarms has had a nice run too as well recently. So Cleanspark's kind of the one that's kind of lagging behind here a little bit compared to those. But I like being a little bit diversified in that because one good news story comes out and the thing's rockets. So, and then if something does happen, you're not, only in one stock at that point. So you're a little bit diversified, but not really because you're still in Bitcoin miners and HPCI play. See, Ponola Ratza, do you own BTC? I do. David Alberts, my experience is if you hold a stock long enough, you'll lose everything, including your wife. Okay. Depending on the stock that you hold. But sure, historically, certain stocks have done very well long term. Not all of them. But there have been obviously stocks that have done very well depending on when you got into them, if you held them for 10 years, whatever it might be. But yeah, these things you don't really want to hold for more than a couple years maybe. Carl, any thoughts on photonics, compute engineering companies as it relates to next generation of HPC development? I saw something about that, but I didn't get a chance to read the article on it. That was something that they were working on, right? That they were talking about that could possibly replace GPUs, I believe. GPUs or the actual CPUs. I'll have to look into that one. I'm not sure. Mortim, one advantage of retail having less interest in BTC is lower volatility. That is true. Yep, we're seeing that for sure. Now, the point I'm making is this company is clearly changing. Sell at your own peril because they don't plan on being a miner for long. Yeah, I would agree with you there, but it also depends on where Bitcoin goes, right? Bitcoin continues to go up for them, and it's profitable for them. With their sites, I think they have the potential to possibly move over everything into HPCI if they wanted to. Other companies that have other sites may not be so great for HPCI. So you're still going to be having Bitcoin mining there potentially. Paul Brown, I don't think BTC winter doesn't apply anymore. In my opinion, it's just going to be relying on how the overall stock market turns and eventually decouple from them in the long run. Okay, I could see that for sure. I'm thinking it's going to be extended cycle, whatever you want to call it, a no more 4-year cycle, or whatever. SH, Bitcoin braced for 25 trillion price earthquake as Deutsche Bank issues huge Fed prediction. Did not see that one. That's interesting. BTC, with the deal and other deals coming in, is it possible the price will move up for Cypher? Yeah. So as they get more deals, right, more revenue is going to be generating, obviously, and all that, that should increase the price per share there going forward, as long as they don't dilute too much. We know a lot of dilution is going to be happening here in 2031 right now. Or not a lot, but some dilution is going to be happening there. All right. Bonla Rasta, what do you think about Trump or his family stocks? Which one is good one to buy? BTC, Trump official, DGT. ABTC, my honest opinion is it's way overpriced, right? Asset light. They don't have any assets to back it except for the ASIC machines there. And that's, yeah, I think that one's just overpriced right now as it is. I think it's going to come down some more to reality here. Yes, the name recognition does help there, but I think eventually, once they start reporting revenues and things like that, the stock is going to come back down. So I think it's overvalued right now. All right, Carl. On Photonics question, have you been looking at light matter, Zandu, Optinalis, and a few others? I have not. Like I said, I saw an article about it last week, but I haven't done any due diligence on it. I haven't done any kind of research on it. I haven't even read the article on it. Just haven't had time. I wish I had more time, but you only have so much time during the day. Let's see. Trump, I believe, is involved with HUT. HUT owns 70 now. Was it 70% of ABTC? Something like that. So that's part of it. Let's see. SH says BTC will be around 1,200 if it gets to 25 trillion valuation. Probably will see many of these companies go back to mine BTC. BTC, I'm not sure what you mean there, but BTC being around 1,200 if Bitcoin gets to 25 trillion valuation. You mean 120, probably 120,000, right? Yeah, Bitcoin price going up is definitely going to help a lot of these miners. Jay says, Soluna, a buy here. Like I said, I don't. Going back about 2 years ago, I was questioning whether or not they would survive the bear market of 2022. Excuse me. They had a new CEO there. The CEO has turned things around. They have been going into these partnerships with other companies to build out their data centers. They're Bitcoin mining sites, basically, and some HPC AI sites as well. I'm not sure what the details are of those partnerships. How much do they get of it? How much does the partner get there? I don't know all the details. I know that the revenues have been not great. They've been actually going down quarter over quarter here, the last couple of quarters. And their balance sheet has not been great, but they're definitely trying to do things, trying to survive and things like that. So you got to do your own due diligence on that one. But I am sticking away from that one. And maybe that's to my own peril there. Maybe I should get into a little bit just to see where it goes. All right. Yeah, why BTC is not going up? You have a lot more institutions involved. You have big money, basically, controlling it now more than ever. And they'll let it run when they want to let it run. But I mean, you got so many companies buying it up, Strategy, Metaplanet, others as well. So it is a little strange that Bitcoin price is not going up. All right, Jay, can you see Mara or Riot pivot to HPCI? Riot is already pivoting to HPCI, right? They've basically paused their expansion on Bitcoin mining to no more than 45 exahash by the end of the first quarter of 2026. And then Mara is also looking to get into that, I think. So they are. All right, Roger, is the Cypher and Google buying them a big deal? I mean, Cypher, Google buying getting the shares there, right, as a kind of backstop a little bit. They did that also with TeraWolf, so I think that's a good thing. But it does also lead me to question, could these guys be on Google's list to buy out potentially? So that's something that I've questioned, but have no idea if that's going to be the case. Brian, what do you think of MicroStrategy now comparing with miners? Yeah, it has obviously not performed anywhere near how the miners have performed in last year, basically, even when, from the time that MicroStrategy reached 520, or was it 540 in November of last year, it has continued to come down. Miners have been outperforming mainly because of HPCI, but they're outperforming it as well. And I think that's going to be the case going forward here. Is just Strategy's got so many of these different vehicles for getting Bitcoin, whether it's the SDRC or any other of the stock symbols that they have there, the ones that get dividends, the ones that don't get dividends. I think they just put too much out there for people to get into it. So I don't know if it's going to continue to run. I think it'll run with Bitcoin, but even we need Bitcoin to run in order for that one to run as well. But I just don't know how much of a premium it should really get there for holding Bitcoin. I love the fact that they're buying it like crazy, but yeah, they've definitely not performed well. Price target for Bitfarms or a level to buy into on a pullback. Oh gosh, I would say for Bitfarms, I mean, get into any pullbacks that you can get into it. I got into it last week when we had a pullback. Let me see here. Bitfarms really quick. Let's pull the chart up really quick just to see where it's at. It's definitely, I mean, come down from 360 here down to 254 on Friday. That was a good time to buy in here. RSI is looking better on it, so we might bounce here a little bit. And then if they provide any kind of news here, I would say dollar cost average in. If you're looking to buy into it, just dollar cost average down if it goes down. I don't know if it will, but if it does go down, dollar cost average in. Obviously not financial advice at that point. Okay, let's go back here to Q&A. Let's see. Fix this really quick. Okay, there we go. All right, what do we got? Talked about that one. Okay, Sour Melon says ABTC is a scam. I wouldn't say it's a scam, but it's overpriced. YKY, hi Seb, at which point will you think that the cycle is over? Global liquidity. Bitcoin cycle? I mean, Bitcoin cycle could continue on for, the next 120 years, maybe at a much slower pace going forward, but it's going to continue, I think. Have some drawdowns depending on what the economy does and things like that. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, depending when you got into things, I guess, when others got into things, when do they start selling? I think it's going to largely depend on the economy overall going forward with Bitcoin. How is the economy doing? Jobs, interest rates, all that stuff. The money printing, M2 global supply as well. All of those things will play into it. All right. Michael asks, how low will DJT fall? That I don't know. I don't follow that stock at all. I have a feeling Cleanspark will run in 2026 Q2 because they will get a HPCI deal in summer 2026. Any comments? They might. Well, I don't know, right? Nobody knows if they're going to get a deal or when they're going to get a deal. We've been waiting for deals to happen here, and a lot of these guys for over a year, since like May, June of last year. And they finally started getting some deals here. So could they get a deal? They do have a nice location in Atlanta, Georgia. They have, I think, 2 sites over there, 2 or 3 sites that are nearby. Those might be really good optionality for somebody to take them up on, but we'll see. Or they could go into, becoming their own HPCI cloud like IREN. I think that'd be a better way to go. All right. Guy says, please provide some details on Raytech Holdings. Thank you. Okay, I'll look into that one. Pitt, hello, Seb. Catch you live today. Thanks for your input. Still holding Cleanspark. Almost 30,000 now, 24 November 2nd week. Okay, nice. I'm still holding too. Let's see. Ponla says, Maro CEO needs to be fired. I would agree with you there. I don't think based on the stock price, I would say, he may need to be removed. Somebody else needs to be brought in there. Jay, thoughts on the UK-based SWC Smarter Web company, BTC Treasury company. Don't know enough about them as far as what they're doing and everything else, so I'll refrain from any comments on that one. Ponla, what's your thoughts on MSTY? I own some shares and getting dividend every month is kind of nice. I mean, that's what I mean, right? You got MSTY, you got MSTR, you got the other ones in there as well. That's what I mean. That's kind of hard. Why the stock maybe is not going up as well. But MSTY, I mean, if you're getting dividends and you're happy with it, I mean, that's up to you. Keep it or sell it and go into something else. Let's see here. Midwest Thailand. Question, will IREN drop far enough to cover the gap? I mean, the gap that we had way back when. Let's take a look at the gap. Going back over here. IREN, there's a gap. We're talking about this gap right here. $24. So it's between 24.30 and 25.24. I don't know if it has to drop back down that far. Yes, gaps like to get filled on a large percentage of them, but not all the time. If the gap filling percentage was 100%, then I would say yes, but it's not. So I don't think it has to get filled. But a lot of people would be happy to have it come down to $25, $24. They'd be probably loading up the boat at that point. I probably would do the same thing at that point, but I think we're going to be somewhere. I mean, we're in no man's land right now. We're in uncharted territory with it as far as price discovery is concerned here. And like I said, if they provide some good news as far as buying more GPUs or something, the stock can continue to run here. All right, Jay, can we see some of the laggards like Cleanspark, Mawson, Riot catching up and give gains like IREN and Cypher? We would need more details on HPCI potential. Right, Riot's been awfully quiet here, right ever since transitioning. When did they transition? Or then transition? They talked about it, I think, last year, right around December time, I think it was. But the stock's doing pretty good here. It's not doing that great, but we need more details, I think. Okay. All right. Bunla, MicroStrategy, MNAV is one. Dirt cheap, of course. It's tied with BTC. And fourth quarter coming into the crypto boom. Is it time to buy MicroStrategy now? Possibly, right? So if it's that low, if the MNAV is that low at 1, then that's actually pretty good because a lot of times, well, at least historically, that doesn't mean it's going to happen going forward here, but historically, MicroStrategy has demanded a much larger premium on that. The stock has at least. So if it repeats, then that would be a good time. But that, I don't know. That's up to you. All right. Jay, thoughts on coins? Seem to be a potential catch-up play. Play has been lagging. Well, coins, obviously, Coinbase there, they get a lot of their revenues on transactions and just volatility, right? So if there's a lot of volatility happening, the stock was going to do great there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not into that one because I can't track it as well as I can track some of these miners here and see what's going on. That one, I don't know. I got into coin actually when they IPO'd, lost money on it at that point, held on to it for about a year, I think, and the stock went down. So I actually lost on it, so I'm not sure right now where it's at. More time, who mines BTC in the future? Most public companies seem to want out. Will future corporate mining require better tax treatment by the government? I don't think it will. I think what we need is a consistent cycle for Bitcoin where it just doesn't drop 80, 90% in price, because that's always been devastating to the miners. So if Bitcoin can just at least hold where it's at and go up slowly over time, I think that would be a huge, huge benefit to the miners, because at that point they will have potentially multiple quarters where they are, cash flow positive. That doesn't mean that they're going to be EPS positive, but at least cash flow positive, because you include share-based compensation and depreciation, all that stuff that always lowers the EPS on it. But at least cash flow positive. They can be cash flow positive for a number of quarters going forward, or every quarter even. That's going to be huge. So they will continue to possibly mine it, and depends on where Bitcoin price goes, where the network hash rate also goes, and then, right, how profitable is it? If it's profitable, they'll probably continue on doing it. Okay. Let's see. Shinshi, hello Seb, I just joined you now. Man, the mining mafia was busy today. Lots of alpha for IREN and backed was dropped. Yeah, IREN is obviously top of mind of everybody here. The guys on Twitter, Franz and Kama, are doing a fantastic job. Also Dolce as well. And those guys are doing a fantastic job putting out a lot of information. If you guys aren't following them, definitely give them a follow, because those guys are like taking, looking at satellite images, and they're trying to see what kind of screws are being used on the buildings. I mean, that's how detailed those guys are going in. I'm kidding here, obviously. They're not going onto the screws, but that's just to give you an idea of how detailed they are on it. And it's great. Those guys are doing a fantastic job there. So definitely give them a follow. All right. And let's see, and Cypher. Yeah, a lot of information being on those guys as well. All right, we're going on almost 45 minutes here. It looks like I've come up to all your guys' questions here. I'm really excited about fourth quarter. I think it's going to be better than what obviously we had in Q3 here. Time will tell if that's going to be the case, but historically it has been. So, right, future is no, that's the word I'm looking there for. Future has no obligation to repeat, is what I'm trying to say. So we'll see where things go at that point, and we'll continue to chug along here. We'll see, where do we end September for Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners? We'll see. And then October starting up, and we'll see what the miners have mined in September. We'll get some more details on them. It's basically the end of Q3 for them, so then we're going to get quarterly results again in about 6 weeks or so from them at that point. All right, but that's it. Thank you so much for coming in as always. I love you all. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope it's a positive green week for you all. And if you're not doing that great right now, be patient. Things will more than likely turn around for us here going forward in Q4. I still believe that. All right. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Until then,